Hi, this is Jazz. So, in honor of what's going on in Ukraine, I'm actually going to take it upon myself to attempt to learn Ukrainian. And the reason, and the thing about this video is, about making this video is I am feeling like I'm going in completely blind because Ukrainian is a language that is completely different from any language I've ever learned. Everything that I know is primarily phonetic. I mean, I know 3 words in Arabic, but I don't know actually how to write them in the actual Arabic script. I just know how to say it. So, but learning how to, I'm mainly curious when it comes to languages about how people read it or how they understand it. Because when I first started learning German, as an example, I heard it was a really hard language, which motivated me more to want to learn it. And I feel like you can learn really anything. It's just a matter of taking the time and actually reinforcing it. So if you saw our previous video that we did, which was about language learning made easy, that was basically a video that really talked about how I as a beginner, where you can break down where you about how to break down really how you learn a language, because there are certain things that you specifically want to focus on, and that's what basically I talked about. So I'm going to basically put those into practice with this. The first thing I usually do from the get-go is I will look at and see if it's on Duolingo. I usually see, just because that's the number one go-to, just because it's just it's easy. It's something that you can pretty much get to. With an access, I actually, as you can see, I'm learning other languages through other languages on here. So adding some English. Those are my English. Oh, there it is. Ukrainian. So I'm learning it for the very first time. So we'll see how this goes. Let me make sure I sound it up. To me, I feel like it sounds like a cat. No, it's a dad. Oh, okay.
Mama.
Mama. Oh, that sounds easy.
Mama и тато.
Mom and dad. I love these little animated figures. They're just they're celebrating. And I'm
И.
and So what I'm seeing here, and I think I can zoom in. So I'm seeing here is the sound, there's sounds that are really unique to Ukrainian that I've never heard of, oh, I'm what? And then there are letters that I have seen, I know, I know a, ah, b, and then there's 2 B sounding sounds, and there's 2, and I think it's because there's this little dip thing, kind of how here you see there's this looks like a W, and then this one has a little thing that like a little tail, and I'm like, what in the world? And then there's a backwards R, and so like it's like this right here is like P, like for P, but then like the letter P is like R, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? Yeah, so that is new. So then there's like a lot of like letters that I've never seen before, like this little like, this looks like a K, it looks like one, like a reflected K. So that's like new. Like I think this, it said that this is ha, and I'm like, what? And then this right here like looks like a like an umlaute, like kind of like the German way of like how like in Germany like they have like that little Germany they have that little like the little 2 dots over their letters. So that's something. There's like a 3 that looks like a 3. So I don't know, it's very interesting because I have, like I said, this is completely different from anything that I have ever learned in my life. So like I think going about it, it's just a matter of learning how to actually recognize the sounds, because like for me, I'm like trying to pronounce them and I'm like, am I saying this right? You know, so we'll see.
But Britain, where it's English, it's like English book. With the subtitle in black.
Okay. That in itself was kind of difficult because it's like, what? So what I realized was helpful is because it's like not like phonetic, like it's Cyrillic, so it's not phonetic. I think like in a way it is phonetic to someone else who's speaking it natively. But what I've done is like with what I've like with my notes with the alphabet, I'm thinking like you put like, I attempt to draw or to write the letter, and then I would write underneath it like the sound that like the letter that it would correspond, or the words that would correspond in the English alphabet or the phonetic alphabet that we use. So like I have like the number, like the letters, and then I would like write like what like this it would sound like. And then in some cases, like what I will do is if it was like, well, she uses like examples of like words that it sounds like, I would just write the word in English that the sound is similar to, and I would just circle like this sound, like this sound. It's like making like a secret code. And then like some of them, they are similar to English, so like they literally look like letter A, that one looks exactly like the English A, so I don't need to write like anything specific on that, because I think it's like also based on like sounds so much as like sound, like specific sounds, whereas I know like in English, I know we have like letters of the alphabet where it's like there's the 26 letters, but then there's like certain letters you can combine to make sounds, like, you know, there's no sh, there's no letter specifically for sh, we just put an S in we put an S and a H and then call it that. Or ch with the C and the H, that comes together as well. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to find some words to like actually like write this out together. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to look up like reading Ukrainian, and, like just so like you can understand like grammar structures. Yeah, because I would say that just mainly because I know in like the English grammar structure we have it where it's like SVO, subject, verb, object. That's how our sentences are always formed. So I would like to know like if it's like similar in Ukrainian, because it's like there's no point in like learning a language and like not knowing how to actually say something that makes sense, because I think that's like also really important in the beginning. Actually, you know what? I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the YouTube is such a great resource because you can literally learn anything on here. for beginners. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one, and we're gonna see.
Привіт! Як справи? Welcome to my YouTube channel Ukrainian with Tina.
Okay. Main thing is that I think it shortens. So I think that's really interesting. It's like they don't use like the helping verb like we use like to be or like être in French or like ser in Spanish or sein in German, essere in Italian. Let's go on. There's like it's always like I am such and such. He. So I think that's really interesting. Is that you can just skip that. Oh, okay, cool. What I think is like I said, just think of it as like codes, like learning secret codes. So I wrote out like the alphabet and I wrote underneath it, like I said before. So I think like when it comes to like actually like learning it, you just need to know like which like you just need to record like what sound goes with what letter, and then it's like as you're trying to sound things out, just like looking at the alphabet and being like, okay, like there's a word there I don't know. Okay, like that letter, it's like, it kind of reminds me of like those little like coloring book pages I used to have where like some of them was like, it was like all these different like little like blanks, and like there were like letters, and there would like be blanks underneath that you write the letter in, and you would just like find the letter, find what the code is, and then you would solve it. So it's kind of like that. I think just to start, eventually, I think, if with sticking with it, you could pretty much just learn, like you could eventually just get to the point where you don't even need the sheet. So I think like with learning a language that does not have the same alphabet as you just need like a code. You just need like a code sheet. Like you can make yourself one of these. Or like I think if you go online, you can probably find something that's similar to that, like to where it's just like all the letters, and you just like they'll like say like what the English sound is. Or I think like I'm pretty sure even if like you speak like another language that's not English, I think there probably are because people learn languages from other languages, not just from English to said language, but other people learn these different languages. So I think that's like what you really just need to do just to get started with speaking. Writing, that is another issue. It's just like more of like learning words, and I think with like the vocabulary, I think that like comes over time, and I've talked about that before. I don't like learning like vocabulary strictly. You should just learn like, okay, what do I want to talk about, and then learn that. Like you do, like I know for a fact like I do need personal pronouns. I need those in order to like talk about he, she, it, they, and then it's easier because also in there's less words in a sentence to learn, because you don't have to put is or am or that, because like in one video it was saying that they don't really say like I am a teacher. It's I teacher literally in English. So yeah is I. Yeah, that's all I know how to say. I know how to at least like be able to make those pronouns. Ja, din. I forget what is this like bee looking thing. Like, yeah. I'm gonna have to go back over that because I don't know how to say that. So, so we're gonna go back over this. So it will not be the last time I go over this.
The verb to be here. The next one is she. Вона.
personally, I think you can learn it. I think it's only hard because you are looking at it from your own language. It's like that. I've never heard of a language where they use like this little like the letter P is an R, and there's this little like like the letter L. It looks like a pi symbol. I was like, oh, what is that? But I think it's, like I said, just learning the secret code. So I think it's, like I said, it's just, I think it's just the same as like any other language. You just have to like learn, like I said, the alphabet, and then from there, like when you're like reading it, like sounding it out, and of course like learning like how they are. It's just, like I said, just codes. I feel like, you know, pursuing this language further, I feel like it would be interesting to pursue this language because it would be really interesting to be able to write in this language. That like writing and reading is like something skills I'm really good at with across any language, is just learning how to write, because speaking requires me to use like vocal muscles that are not familiar. Like for example, like one of them, I think like it was it's like a letter B. The letter, like there's two sounds for the letter, like for what would be for us the letter B. Like I think it's like a short and a long sound. I've never heard of that. So that's gonna take something. Like I have to, like with speaking, you have to like train your vocal muscles to know that, oh, like you don't say it like this. This is a sound that's unique to this language. So that is something that that I would say I would have to learn. I don't know, because with my life, I don't know too many people that I would speak Ukrainian with. I mean, I could find people to do that. I think that's also possible, especially given what's going on right now. Yeah, I could find ways to speak those languages. I mean, I think it's great, like we said, with travel. If you're like meeting people who are from different countries, like even when I was in France, you know, you have people who are migrating from like other different places to be in France. So it's like, oh, you don't know. I feel like in a sense, it's just more of like, I wouldn't really use it in my career, because it's like I've already have other languages I've already established in my career. I don't know. That sounds kind of like a fixed mindset. I feel like I could find ways to use this, you know, especially since I'm also like almost 25. I'm at an age where it's like, it's gonna eventually get more challenging to learn a new language, because it's like for like kids, it's like, oh, I'm just like listening to, you know, like this language, and eventually I'm like talking. Like I remember I was like, when I was an au pair, I remember like I was speaking to one of them in English, like as I was trying to teach, and she's like, I don't understand, like, can you talk normal? I'm like, normal? This is normal for me. This is my native language. But kids, like, oh, like there's just, you know, there's other, you know, they're like babies, especially, they're just like learning, and it's like, oh, like this is what it is. But as an adult, because you're basically you've already solidified a native language, it's like, oh, that's a foreign language, oh, that I don't know how to say that, I don't know what that is. I think it's, I don't know, like with the situation that's going on, it's really encouraged me to like learn, or at least attempt to learn a language that outside of, you know, what I normally speak. And I know that like specifically with Ukrainian, I know that it can translate to other different languages. Like I know like with like Russian, because I think they use the similar alphabet. I'm not really sure. I've never learned Russian obviously you're seeing me for the first time learning Ukrainian, so it's like, how do you use? And like, I don't know. But I know that specifically with like Eastern Europe, you can actually find ways where it like translates to like different like languages in that same like region. Just the same way that even though in English we use pretty much the same alphabet as every language in Western Europe. Even like, I know like in Italian there are 6 letters. I think there's like 5 or 6 letters in their alphabet that they actually just don't use, because it's not like it's just not what they use. But even with the 21 letters in the alphabet that they use, they're all letters that are familiar in English and French and Spanish and so on and so forth. you know. So like even, and I think like even with like Asian languages, like they're all like, even though they're like more like symbolic based languages, I think you still like can find the fact that they're related to like other languages in that region. Like I wouldn't say exactly, because like I said, I'm not an expert at those languages. I just really enjoy learning languages in different cultures. One thing I will say is that I really like how if you go into Google Translate, which I don't really recommend Google Translate to learn languages, but I think it's really interesting to see how like you can say like you like as you're actually looking at this, you can actually see that of course that's how it is written in the language, but also you can see it phonetically from our native language. You're able to actually sound it out. That's really helpful. So я вчу Okay, let's do it.
Вчу українську. Я вчу українську.
Я вчу українську. I hope that I said that right. But you know, it's like helpful like for pronunciation as well. So I wrote this down in Google Translate. Like I said, don't use Google Translate, but I wrote this down. I don't know if it's legible, so I'm going to try to sound out. So this, in closing, I'm going to say this. Okay. Я мол... No. Hang on, what does this sound? Let me look at my notes again. Okay. Я молюся за Ukraину. I'm praying for the situation to end, and because I think this whole war is unnecessary, just as much as anyone else. But it's been really fun actually learning this language. It literally like learning learning the how they relate to each other. I don't know. Somehow I feel like maybe later on in life I might find myself using it, but I feel like at the very basic as today, the goal today is that I know how to read the letters of the alphabet. I may not know at all what they mean, but I can probably sound out words at this point. So with the alphabet, I can sound out words, and someone can probably tell me if I said something wrong or not. So if you are Ukrainian, I am most definitely have been intensively praying for you and trying to get as much support as I can. And also making this video, I feel like especially with so many people leaving their country, I feel like it's really important that like language is literally culture. With mass displacement, I feel like it's really important to like be able to like, because you know your language is who you are, it's part of your culture. So I feel very like, and I feel like with every language that I learn, I feel like I'm learning like a little bit more. I'm taking on a piece of someone else's culture, which I don't know too much about Ukrainian culture because I don't spend a whole lot of time like with my with my previous languages focusing on that. But like with different like cultures, it's like with different languages, there's always culture that is attached to it. I don't know. For me, it's really interesting being able to like learn, and then also like realizing that like it's not. I don't know. For me, it's not just a language. It's like a part of someone else's life. Like it's like, oh, like I'm learning this language, but it's really and truly it's someone else somewhere in the world. That language is someone's reality. It's their life.